This is SWBC Mortgage's Cowboys Crosstalk.
Check this out.
Broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. Brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by SWBC Mortgage. Customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit SWBC.com. Now, your host, Shannon Gross.
Welcome to a very unique episode of Cowboys Crosstalk as we enter the bye week. And gentlemen, before I make introductions, I got one thing to say. 5-1, baby. 5-1. Let's go.
Yes, sir, man.
All right.
Yo, Dallas Cowboys.
Let's go. All right, let's get to it. To my right tonight, joining us, always a pleasure, always a good time. Brian brought us the 105.3 The Fan. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you.
Yep, you're looking good.
I'm trying, man.
Yeah?
I broke out the Miller Lite.
I
here.
see
I
that.
got the draft show. I tried to kind of cover all the bases today.
I like it.
Thank you.
And to your right, repping the Cowboys in the royal blue T-shirt.
Always a family, baby.
Nathaniel Newton. Welcome to the show, Big Nate.
Hey, what's
Young
up,
Nate,
baby?
thank
What's
you.
up, baby? We got to win the bye week, baby. Let's go.
We will not lose this week. We will not lose. And to your right,
Yes, sir.
the one, the only, our special guest, our guest of honor tonight, Rocket Ismail.
What's happening?
Welcome to the show, Rocket.
Yes,
I ain't never heard it pronounced like that. Can you say
Sorry.
it again?
Ismail.
With the elaborate
Yeah, you
enunciation.
said it.
There we go. So
Kiss my L.
Yes.
Right,
there we go.
Wow.
So this is going to be a fun show because we have nothing really to talk about specifically except the Dallas Cowboys, how they've been performing, what you like about the team and what you don't. And other than that, we can take this anywhere we want to go because there's no game to talk about on
All
Sunday.
right, well, I love it. And before the show, Brian asked me a question. Then we got cut off
Right.
unceremoniously.
Right.
And the question was, what the heck happened to my Irish
Yeah.
when they were playing Cincinnati?
Yeah.
And my answer was about to be, man, they're a good team as far as Notre Dame is concerned, but they're not good enough to overcome inconsistent
There
quarterback
you
play,
go.
and they're not good enough to overcome more than one turnover. And that's
got you.
the short of what happened in that game.
I got you, man.
I wanted to be polite and make sure I answer the question.
Anytime you could kick a Notre Dame man
Oh.
down while he's down a
Yeah.
little bit, that's what you got to do.
Well,
It doesn't always happen that
Nate-
way.
I can dig it.
Nate told me before the show, he said, you got one job. Don't let him start talking about Notre Dame. 'Cause that'll be the rest of the show.
You failed.
Nate, we got 30 seconds in, and
Yeah.
we already took
Yeah.
it off the
You
rails.
have failed your mission.
So what have you been up to, Rocket?
Man, learning how to parent young adults. Because it's like they're still in that age, so that the age they can do what they want to do.
Right.
And I told my children, you don't have to obey your mother and father anymore, but you still have to honor us.
Right.
And how I tell them when you're honoring us is going to guarantee two things:
Right.
that you'll live long and that you'll have an opportunity to prosper in this land that you're in.
Right.
So, with that being said,
Yeah.
it's like as a dad, it's like I can't just lay down the law. Because my 25, 23,
Right.
20, 25, 22, 21,
Jeez.
18 is my youngest, and it's like probably 3/4 of the things that they might want to do, I still have to pay for.
Right.
And so it's like, man, you want this money, boy, you got to listen to the words that's coming out my mouth. So it's like learning how to balance being a parent at this stage of their lives is
Sure.
that's my main deal. And then every once in a while, I work with the NFL Legends community. And the Legends community, for anybody that's a former player that's out there listening, you're a legend if you have a story to tell that somebody from your hometown, from your college town, from your NFL town can recall. You're a legend. You play for any of the 32 teams now it is in
That's
the
us.
league.
Yeah.
Any of the 32 teams, and you can get information and download an app at nfl.players.com.
Right.
And that's the other part of my time. And then when I get more downtime, I go to Notre Dame games.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got Notre Dame in there twice in the first 3
Boom!
minutes. So there we go. Mission
Cheer
accomplished.
time.
Cheer.
Brought us.
Yeah.
All right, since it's the bye week,
Yeah.
We're 5-1.
Amazing, huh?
I say we. The
No,
Cowboys
you're
are
we.
5-1.
Go ahead and say we. You work here.
We
You work here.
We're 5-1, and it feels a lot like 2016 a little bit.
Heck of a run, huh?
You got some young players. You got some energy. They're having fun.
Yeah.
What surprises you most about this team so far this year?
You know, I think that they're very well coached. And I'll say this in a way that I think, and Nate might agree with me, and maybe Rocket will as well, there's things that happen to this team early with suspensions, injuries, things like that they're having to adjust through. If you would have told me 5 weeks ago this team would be on a 5-game winning streak with Terrence Steele playing at right tackle, you know, I think taking Lyle Collins out is a huge deal. You know, and this offensive line has not played together as all 5 guys yet. You know, and here's this team, it's 5-1 right now. I think the coaching staff's doing a great job of, you know, Terrence Steele, Tank Lawrence not in the game. I mean, taking players that they got, whether it was through free agency in the offseason or drafting, and then plugging them in. We always hear a coach talk about, you know, it's coach speak a little bit like, oh, we're putting our players in positions to make plays. This staff is really doing a nice job of that. They're not asking these guys to do stuff that they can't do. And maybe in some of the times in the past you might have seen that. It's like, okay, throw that guy out there, let him block 65 plays. If it works okay, it's fine. Mm-hmm. You know, but along the way they've done things in order to put, you know, you knew this offense was going to be good. The defense was the biggest question mark.
Right.
So what was going to happen in the secondary? What was going to happen at defensive tackle? How good were they going to be at linebacker? But I think, you know, instead of having to use smoke and mirrors along the way for defense, they're actually developing some guys, and the guys are making some plays. Yeah, they're giving up some chunk plays, but the offense is doing such a great job of putting pressure on these opponents on their offense to have to score along with you. It's helping the defense with the turnovers and the things they're able to do.
Nate, what's the biggest surprise? So the easy answer is defense, right?
Right.
What's the biggest surprise to you so far about this team?
Oh, man, just the consistency, you know, and what brought us to stand, the development of players, going out, getting – we finally went out and got free agents and draft picks that are contributing. Whereas before we would get draft picks and free agents and all of a sudden, why are they not playing? Mm-hmm. And we would have some reason why they wouldn't play. Now they are playing. The coaching staff don't have to say next man up. We kind of take that for granted early in this season. So I'm with you 100%, brothers. I have nothing to add, but I want to hear what the voice has to say.
The guest of honor down
Well,
there. What you
I
got,
just
Rocky?
want to say, and I don't know if this is something that would be a consensus amongst the Cowboys nation, but man, a part of me holds my breath every time I see Dak take off.
Yeah.
And so, okay, that's okay. So I didn't know if I was by myself.
Right.
Every time I see him take off, and just because I'm an offensive guy,
Right.
I am less and less anxious whenever we find ourselves in a 3rd and long down, and it's in a crucial situation, and we have to have it, whether it is through the air or on the ground. It's like my expectation is that we're going to get it.
Right.
And so that's like a real good feeling to have, man. And I hadn't had that in a while.
Is that because there's 3 things that go into that to me? Is that because of Dak? Is that because of you've seen Cedric Wilson do it, you've seen Noah Brown do it on 3rd and 4th down, or is it because of the play calling with Kellen Moore? There's 3 different things,
okay.
right?
So primarily,
Because I feel the same way. I'm like, okay, we got this. We got this.
So for me, the primary is Kellen. He's 1, and then 1A is Dak and the rest of the offense and their ability to execute. Like that to me, when you talked about consistency over the season, that to me stands out the most. And it's just like when I'm watching the game, I know it's like, man, I don't have as much anxiety as I used to have when it was coming down to these same situations.
Yeah, I think when what Rocket and Nate are talking about too, the consistency, and you get in a 1st and 20, and all of a sudden he throws the ball to Noah Brown, like you say, for 20 yards, and you're like going, well, that was easy.
Yeah.
And that's where, I mean.
Now I know why they kept Noah.
Well, it's funny. They get behind the chains on things, and it's not just a backbreaker. It's not one of those.
Yes.
It's not one of those things where like, oh my gosh, they can't convert this.
Right.
I mean, they put so much pressure. I mean, Belichick was grinding in that game the other day because he couldn't figure out. He's like, okay, do I choke the running game? And if I choke the running game, what happens on the outside? His guys gave up huge plays on the outside. I mean, 500-something yards of offense against a Bill Belichick-led defense. That's just unheard of. I mean, that's an all-time record, if you want to say. So, yeah, this team puts you in a lot of bad situations when it comes defensively to have to deal with all that.
And to add to that right quick, right, because I know I can feel you.
Literally, he's coming over the table at you, yeah.
Our defense is just good enough to agitate you. Yeah. And our offense is good enough to win it all.
Yes.
So if we can keep agitating folks defensively until this defense builds and get better, mature, because I don't think they're where they need to be against top-level competition.
Right.
But they can agitate you just
enough.
Well,
the turnovers make a difference, too. Yeah. I mean, the turnovers is like, if you want to talk about the great deodorant right now, yeah.
Well, we can't about to come at you, brother.
No,
He's going to jerk your headset off. He wants to talk so bad.
You want to talk so bad.
No, go. Finish. Do your thing.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. The great deodorant has been the turnovers. I mean, the fact that you give up chunk plays, and even the coaches are talking about that. They're like, listen, we're not where we need to be when it comes to giving up these plays. We got to rally to the ball better, and we got to tackle. But the fact that you're turning people over, I think, makes a huge difference for how you play defense.
So one other point from a defensive standpoint that excites me to no end.
Right.
I feel so honored that in my lifetime and in my sports experience lifetime, I've seen iconic sports figures from the time I can remember. And I don't want to get out on the ledge.
Do it.
Like
no,
right
do it.
Now.
That's what this show's about.
It's right now. It's right now.
But when we talk about defense and when we talk about turnovers, man, like something inside of me is like, man, is Diggs going to be that guy that like iconic, like he starts fast, stays consistent and finishes strong in the season. Then before you know it, he's 5 years down the line and you're like, okay, we can't go to that guy's side. Like, is that like the anticipation of what that can be? Man, it's such a joy to me. I feel so great when I see it, and I'm not even a defensive dude. So anyway, I just wanted to add that before we go to break.
All right, and I got to clarify something because I saw Nate side-eye me when I said, now I know why they kept Noah Brown around all these years. Not in a negative way. He just never
like I was with 86.
Right. We'll get to that later.
But he hates Dalton Schultz.
No,
I love him, but I ain't think
he didn't love him as much as I did.
I didn't think it would
but
be that bad.
You never saw Noah get on the field, and now I know it's like Terrence Steele.
Yeah.
Why do they? A lot of people were down on Terrence. A lot of
I was never down on him.
And now you know why they kept these guys around because it's starting to pay dividends.
So he ain't better lay up.
All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more stuff. We don't even know what we're talking about, but I like the way the show's starting. Shannon Gross, Nate Newton.
Lyle is the man.
Brian Broaddus and Rocket Ismail. When we come back, this is Cowboys Crosstalk from the Cowboys Club here in Frisco, Texas.
SWBC Mortgage's Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back to the beautiful Cowboys Club here at the Star in Frisco, Texas. Shannon Gross, Brian Broaddus, Nate Newton, and the guest of honor, Rocket Ismail at the end of the table. And before, it's an inside joke before we start the
It
show.
is an inside joke.
Before we get back to business, let's talk a little business.
What do we got, Shannon?
Rocket, did you know that at SWBC they have customized solutions for individuals and businesses, and they're just a click away?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Now you do.
You know now.
And after the show,
Yeah.
I want you to visit SWBC.com. You can learn more, and you can start your next adventure today.
I'm on it.
All right. So we got into a little talk when we were in the break. And normally when we're in the break, we're not allowed to talk about what we talked
Right.
about in the break. But this was a pretty clean break, we'll say.
Yeah.
So we're talking about number 7, Trevon Diggs. Right. Broaddus is a little bit of an analyst. He knows a thing or two about coverages. You know a thing or two about coverages. And you guys were having some back and forth. Tell the people what you guys were talking about, what you wanted to know about him.
So my question was this expected?
Yeah.
And with the expectation, is there room to get better? Is this an anomaly? Is this something that's going to be what it is that we see? And you replied,
Well, my reply to you is, though, when you watch him have to play because of his length and his athletic ability, it's different for him facing different receivers because in the Giants game, he had to deal with Kenny Galladay, and he's had to deal with bigger receivers, so he's going to carry your best guy. Usually your best guy might be the biggest guy, whether it's Evans, Galladay, Allen, guys like that. So when he plays against big on big, that's to his strength. He has to face somebody like in Tony, who was the wide receiver with the Giants from Florida, the little shifty guy. And I was also talking about if he had to cover you, it would be a lot different for him because he is not that quick twitch. We talk about a Deion Sanders and the kind of guys that have that ability to where if Rocket was playing in the slot and he has to walk down there and cover, then Rocket could kind of move him off the line, and now he's having to rally and turn and do all that. So to me, the bigger of the receiver that he has to play, the better chance he has for collision, position, and then finish. And I think that's where his game is. That and then a lot of the best receivers around the league. We'll see what happens at Minnesota, in next week with him having to deal with Jefferson,
You got 3 of them out there.
and Thielen and guys like that. Who do you travel with in that football game? I mean, because like I say, Jefferson's got some separation, taller guy. Thielen is a bad ball catcher, but you bang on Thielen, you're going to have a chance to cover him. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that Dan Quinn and then Joe Witt, the secondary coach, and then Al Harris, and how they put him. Do they mix him up with, okay, one time he's got Thielen on 3rd down, the next time he's got Jefferson on a 1st or 2nd down. You don't let them get a bead of where he's going to be when you put him in coverage.
one question. Is it possible with high-level film study and being able to have the ins and outs of what a guy's tendencies are, what a team's tendencies are, what a coordinator's tendencies are, and these downs and distances for a guy that has the strength that Trevon has to be able to mitigate the damages, if you will, when you're dealing with a quicker, shiftier, smaller receiver? Is that possible?
Yeah, he could do the study part, but like I told you at the break, it's mom and dad. Mom and dad made him a tall, long, rangy player. He didn't, he gave him, if you see him when he plays, he does have a burst when you watch because when the ball goes, his ability to track and then to burst to the play. Now, initially off the line, he's not going to get you with that. I mean, you could kind of get him to separate, but then if the ball hangs, he can rally. And that's how he makes a lot of his plays. He's in better position than a lot. And the fact that he could finish, how many receivers or how many NFL games we watch on a weekly basis where a ball is tipped and it hits. I watched Jamal Adams get hit right in the face the other day with a ball.
God,
the ball came right and hit him in the face, and I'm like going, bro, put your hands up, catch it. That's a turnover going that way. But whether the ball is tipped or is poorly thrown, his ability to concentrate and finish, and that's a little bit of that receiver in him too.
Yes.
That ability to find it and to finish. A lot of these corners in the league they could have 6-7 interceptions maybe if they just finish by securing the ball.
Background real quick.
You said one question.
Oh, I should have put up two fingers.
You're trying to put me out of a job.
I should have put up two fingers. Background-wise,
Yeah.
does he have receiver in his?
Yeah, that's his brother is Trevon Diggs, who's from – and it's funny, Nick Saban took him when he was at Alabama when Trevon, when he went to Alabama, he was a wide receiver at Alabama.
Okay.
And Nick Saban, who coaches the secondary, he's the head coach, but he coaches the secondary at Alabama.
Okay.
So those are his guys. And he told Diggs, he said, "Listen, if you trust me, I can make you. I could put you at corner and you'll be just fine." Yeah. And he didn't want to do it. He said he cried.
Yeah,
he said he cried.
He spent a little time at wide receiver.
Yeah, he goes, "I don't want to do
Yeah.
this." But now he could thank Nick Saban. He's on his way to having an outstanding career as a corner.
Nate, I got to ask you a question. Rocket's trying to take my job on Wednesday nights. He's doing a lot better job at these question asking than I am. Stay on the defensive side of the ball. You've been asking for 3 years now, maybe 4, for a big space-eating guy in the middle. And now you've seen Osa. You've seen a little bit of Bohanna. Gallimore's kind of not been playing because of injury. Do you have that guy yet?
They just okay. They just okay. They gotta get man strong. Mm-hmm. Osa can flash.
Yeah, he can.
I haven't seen Bohannon really do anything, to be honest with you. I haven't, and so they got to get man strong, and they got to get a little bit more knowledge of the game. Yeah. This is where I think if my man is doing his work, Gallimore, he can be learning off this film on how to do this thing in the middle. Because if we could ever stop the leak in the middle of our defense, the game would change for us.
Yeah, I don't think this was a particularly good game for the linebackers.
Right.
And a lot of it was they were fighting blocks, but they were fighting guys in their lap. If you in some of the plays, some of the running plays, when you watch the all-22, it's guys are trying to extend. They're not extending. Now they're back. The linebackers are pushing off their guys, trying to get over there. Now they're trying to tackle a guy with one arm, not really a full body or anything like that. Yeah, they've had some games where linebackers have been really, really good. I'm including Parsons in this one too. Van Der Esch and Parsons have played really well together. But since last week, that wasn't one of their better games when it came to the ball just going down, not downhill, but just right at them. That was a very problem. And they're about to. Minnesota can run the ball.
They're gonna run it, man.
Minnesota's going to try and run the ball, and this is where. And this is where Mike Zimmer is like the old school. He's like, I don't care, first down, run it, second down, I don't care. He's got a good quarterback in Kirk Cousins, but they're going to try and test you a little bit.
Rocket, we're on defense. Who on defense gave you fits? What DBs did, whenever you looked at the schedule, were you like, man, that's going to be a tough matchup for me?
Dion, and it depends when I was in my receiver development. As a receiver coming out of college, I came out of a system where my hand was on the ground and I was in a three-point stance. Yeah.
It's funny to watch his tape in 1989 and stuff.
I am horrified when I look at myself in college from a receiver position. Yeah. I was the tailback in high school, and then it became, all right, just let's figure out a way to get the ball to him once I got into college. So my receiver skills were so bootleg. Then I ended up going in Canada, I ended up being I had decent numbers, but it was still like the same philosophy, just what is available to get the ball in his hands. Then when I go to the Raiders, it was like certain teams have a certain spirit or characteristic about it. Right. So the Raiders were built not only for speed, but they were built where it was a veteran team. Yeah. So there were guys that already knew what they were doing. I needed to be ideally in a team like, say, the San Francisco 49ers, who were very detail-oriented in what their receivers did. I say all that to say I wasn't a full potential receiver until my 7th year in the NFL when I'm in Carolina and we get the offensive coordinator, Gil Haskell, from
Green Bay.
He was a receivers coach. Yeah. He was in Green Bay. Then he became our offensive coordinator. Yeah. We're in, I think it was minicamp at one time, and somebody was running a route, and he said, that's it. And he said, 6 and 2. And I was like, well, wait, hey, man, what is this language you're speaking? And he was like, oh, 6 steps in his stem, 2 steps to get out. And I was like, wait, what? I didn't know. Literally, I'm in the NFL all this time. I did not know that outside of a slant, a 3-step slant, or maybe a 1-step arrow route slant, I didn't know that you could count your steps on every route you run. And then he broke it down to me, and instantly I understood why, in my day, teams like Green Bay, teams like San Francisco always had a premier in the league receiver, not just the number 1 guy on their teams, but they always had a guy that was, you never heard of him, but he was always amazing, and his steps and his routes were precise. Now, I say that to say, you asked me about what DBs gave me issues. Nobody gave me issues once I understood that, and I was, if you will, declining in my growth hormone was starting to diminish.
Yeah,
I could feel it.
yeah.
I'm giving you the science. I'm giving you the science. And everything that was a problem before with any DB, it wasn't a problem anymore moving forward. It was like I don't care if you was Darryl Green, I don't care if it was Champ Bailey, I don't care if you was Deion Sanders, even though I just saw him in practice.
Yeah.
Saw him one time in the game when we played them. Nobody was giving me problems anymore. And then it became, okay, who's my quarterback? And then who's my offensive coordinator? So it was just, so one guy did initially, but then after I got the knowledge that I should have had back then, oh man, it was over.
It's too bad they didn't have them things floating around.
The guys that gave him trouble, the guys that could count along with him. When Raghib was running 1, 2, 3, 4.
The guy
1, 2, 3, 4.
Backwards. What'd you say, Nate?
That's just too bad they didn't have them places for the hormones that they got now.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That would have helped a lot.
Nebraska did that.
Yeah.
All right, let's take it. You know what? This has been such a great show. We're already halfway done. Can you believe that? We got so much more to talk about. Let's take our second break, and when we come back, we got a lot of stuff to get to with the great Rocket Ismail. When we come back, you're listening to Cowboys Crosstalk on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Mitigated.
SWBC Mortgage's Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back to the show. Shannon Gross, Brian Broaddus, Nate Newton, and Rocket Ismail joining the show today. And Broaddus, before we get back to it, SWBC Mortgage.
They're the best.
You can join the more than 120,000 customers that they've helped to find their happier way home.
Outstanding.
After the show, don't do like Nate and get on your phone in the middle of the show to go look this up.
I'm not going to do that.
Just trying to make sure everybody have opportunity to listen, Shannon.
But go look. go to SWBCmortgage.com and you can find a pro today.
They still got that studio downstairs?
They do.
I've done a lot of draft shows down there.
You have.
Love those folks. Thank you for what they do.
Yeah, they provide quite the home during the month of April for you.
Sure do. They sure do.
All right, back to the show. What do we want to talk about here? Do we want to talk
Did you write anything down?
During the show, before the show, or
before the show?
No. I just printed some stuff out.
I like it, though.
I have so many different directions I can go with these things I wrote down. Let's talk about, we mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Rocket, you feel really good because of a number of things on offense, right? How do you guys feel about Dak Prescott? I feel like last week, but today's Wednesday, Sunday, against the Patriots, I saw something that I've been waiting to see with Dak. I've always had that nervousness, like, it's always I don't know if we can go win this game. I don't know if he can start on his own 20 or 30 and go down the field and win a game. I feel like going into this year, what he's done on offense, taking command of the offense, I started feeling better, but I saw something on Sunday where it's like, okay, maybe this is the moment where a mojo moment. But where he did what he had to do, ugly game, not his best game by any means, did what he had to do in the moment that he had to do it, and I almost felt like I just witnessed what I've been needing to see for him to be in that elite conversation. Now, Nate's going to say he's got to go win a championship to be elite in his book. But
I can't because I played with people like that.
Yeah. Right. But are we witnessing the Dak Prescott entering that top 5, top 3 quarterback conversation?
Yeah, and I understand why Nate does it. And I grew up in Dallas and season ticket holders for the Cowboys from 1972 till 1992 till I went to work in Green Bay. And my dad said, I'm not giving Jerry Jones money to beat you. So he got rid of the tickets. And it really didn't matter, Dad. We were 0-7 against Nate, and it just really didn't matter. Him and Eric Williams used to take Reggie White for rides every once in a while. But no, I love Reggie. And the thing about it is, though, with Dak, I think every year we see something different with Dak. And whether you want to have the elite conversations or where he ranks, and people say, oh, well, he's now in the top 3, or before the season he was 8th or whatever, and like that. I think there's always something with Dak that you know how hard he works, and you know how important it is to him, and you do see things. I mean, I remember things like the ball going down the field. The touch, the accuracy, balls behind, balls in front, balls too high. But how about just seeing the field? How about just kind of having an idea where everybody is? And we've seen that more this year with Dak. I think if you talk about the growth of Dak Prescott is, as a quarterback, you have to be able to, that play action game, you have to be able to take your eyes away from the defense and come back and find where everybody is. Mm-hmm. I think Dak Prescott has done that as well as anybody in the league, and think about this, that offensive line. I mean, the running game has been good, which has helped, but the right tackle situation, they haven't always been solid at center. I mean, the left guard had some problems last week, and it doesn't matter. Wait, we're going to take Michael Gallup out of this thing. Oh, hey, by the way, Amari Cooper's going to be banged up the whole game. There's things that Dak Prescott has just totally overcome, and he's not allowed this team to fail at it. He said, okay, I have to carry us when we're not good. Now, some guys have come along and helped him, but I think with him, it's never been a question about the leadership. It's been mechanics and how does he see things, and that, I think, has really, really improved for him from what I've seen going into this season.
How about you, Rocket?
So for me, any questions about Dak's ability and or potential I was listening to an interview, and they were going over, hey, you got to this point in your career, and what made you feel like you could make it in this league, and what made you – and he was talking about, to whoever the guy was, he said that when he first got here, not being like a premier draft pick, but just kind of being a guy, maybe a little more than a guy, and his number was called, and he had to step into the huddle with all of the premier guys, the first team. And I remember he said there's something inside of him just like clicked, and his self-talk was, I belong here.
Right.
Not only do I belong here, I can do this. And understanding over the years that I've played sports, when people talk about mental toughness or leadership mentality, or when people talk about championship mentality, like that has to be the foundation. That has to, the premier foundation has to be, I belong here, I can do this, and then it's willing to put the work in, which he was. So for me, I feel supreme confidence anytime. Well, I shouldn't say supreme confidence. Every time I see him, like I said earlier, take off and start running or something, a little bit of anxiety might sneak up on me. But outside of that, I am totally thankful that he's our quarterback. And I'm also thankful that Kellen, in his in his maturity as offensive coordinator, it's like, man, I'm seeing creative things happening in the play calling that is just like the two of them together. That's a lethal combination, man. I love it.
But what about you, Nate? I see you ready to jump in.
I want Broadus to come. Broadus over here ready to go. So go, Broadus, go.
No, I mean, I will. I'll say this though, and I think this is where Rocket's right about, because as a former scout, Mississippi State was number 1 in the country for several weeks with Dak Prescott at quarterback. And then scouts, after Dak left, scouts went into Mississippi State looking at their program and going, where are all these great players? And Dan Mullen and them are like, no, it was the quarterback.
Wow.
It was the quarterback that did this. And so that just kind of shows you, I remember being at camp with Nate, when Kellen Moore got his foot stepped on. And then all of a sudden it was Dak Prescott, and we were watching practice, and it's like, man, the ball is not accurate here. He's not throwing. And then we have a preseason game against the Rams.
Wow.
The Rams, and it's like, bang, 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 bang down the field. I'm like going, whoa, where's this guy? Where's this guy? And then everybody's telling you, this guy's a gamer. And then, so he went from being a gamer to like a real NFL quarterback because he developed along the way. And Rocket's right about him and Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's developed as a play caller, but Dak Prescott has allowed him to develop as a play caller as well.
This is one thing. I know one guy, other guys, a guy. But Gil Brandt.
We all know guys.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about when it came to Dak being here.
Yeah.
Gil Brandt from day one and never backed off. That's Dallas quarterback.
What?
Gil Brandt said, Nate, we were sitting at the table downstairs. Yeah. He said, Nate, this kid can play.
Before they drafted him?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, he and I looked, I'm like, wow, but I never heard nobody else.
Yeah.
And, Broadus was my key man. I never really talked
we
to you
talked,
about the situation.
We interviewed, and I know we did a documentary on him going to Mississippi State, and Dan Mullen was telling us about him not getting recruited. Like they had to convince, he threw the ball all over the place. But, it just shows you his ability. He built the Dak yard over by his house. Yep. He's throwing every day. He's rallying people, that's what he does. He's like, listen, I know I've got to keep working at this. And some guys just kind of say, okay, the ability's there, I'm just going to not worry about it. He knows he has to work every single day, and he does. He's remarkable in that way.
The sad thing about this, and I'm never going to forget this, and if you want to always think of Dak, whenever Dak has had at least one good receiver, a decent offensive line, and a running back, tell me, when has he failed?
Yeah.
He's never failed when he's had one good receiver.
There's a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah. But no,
there's a lot of guys like, oh gosh, I got nothing to throw to today.
But I'm saying he's never failed.
No,
he's never failed.
You're right.
Now that kid that you love with the Chargers.
I love that kid.
I've never seen him fail.
Herbert. I'll tell you what, though.
I've never seen him, but he's the first,
the game at the Ravens, though, that was an eye-opener for that
You get what I'm saying? Some guys you don't see fail.
Yeah. And Dak's got the off-the-field stuff that you look for, too.
Yeah.
It's he's a guy's guy. The guys love him. They gravitate towards him. Like they
Tom
enjoy
Brady,
being
man.
around
Tom
him.
Brady.
You know?
Beat him my house. Beat him my. He willing to get in trouble.
So I
Beat
didn't
him my
know
house
that
to
part.
work out. Yeah.
Word?
Come to my house to work out. Yeah.
Well,
I got
smart.
the feel.
He took Antonio Brown and said, "Come live with me.
Yeah.
I'll throw you the ball every snap."
Yeah.
He goes, "I don't know about that
Almost-
Mike Evans, but
almost
I know this guy in the slot can play a little bit."
He almost ruined Anthony Brown. Come on, man.
Rocket, who was your favorite teammate that you ever had over the years?
My favorite teammate, man, I would have to say when I was with the Raiders, probably when I first got there, Willie Gault, because he took me under his wing, and I was on the same wavelength as far as just eating healthy and chiropractic care.
Two really fast guys.
Right, looking for, and he essentially showed me the town of LA, showed me all the different practitioners to go to keep my body in working order. And then I would say Vince Evans would be
The old quarterback.
And the reason why with Vince, because I could feel when I got into the huddle, or if he came in with the first guys, I could feel his vibes and energy towards me. Like, man, he loved to throw it deep, and he's like, Rock, you gonna get that, man. It's about he threw me my first NFL touchdown in my first game against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
And so it was like, so that's the Raiders. And then when I got to Carolina, I had a bunch of former Notre Dame guys. Anthony Johnson was there, Pat Terrell was there, Rod Smith was there, and Kenan Tatum was there. And Steve Berline, primarily of all of them, was there. And Steve Berline was a part of helping to restore my confidence as an NFL receiver, and me being able to see, okay, what a real leader and what a real quarterback, and why teams keep veteran quarterbacks at the backup position and how important that actually is. And so that group of guys. And then by the time I got to Dallas, man, it was just like everybody, like when Mike was here, like he was my man. Then he went down, and I saw how important he was to the team.
The Dallas Cowboys, as we knew it, when he was laying on the field, that was it.
Man, let me tell you something.
That was the end. I knew it too, and I was in scouting. I knew it.
Let me tell you
we were
something.
done.
Oh man,
hold that thought, because
Yeah.
I want to know exactly what you want to say.
Yeah.
And we got to take our last break, pay a couple of bills.
All right.
When we come back,
Got to pay Rocket.
yeah. I know. So we will be right back. Hold that thought, Rocket. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
back to SWBC Mortgage's Cowboys Crosstalk.
Check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back to the show. Shannon Gross, Brian Broaddus, Nate Newton, and Rocket Ismail joining the show tonight for the last and final segment. And Nate, SWBC PEO, helping to alleviate the HR administrative burden that comes with running a business. Leave the worrying to them, Nate. Visit, not right now. Please don't pick your phone up because I know we lose you when you pick your phone up. Visit swbcpeo.com to find out more after the show.
It's appropriate that you did the HR thing to Nate.
Is it?
Yeah. He's an HR problem.
Yeah.
Is it not there?
Yeah. Wow, I just can't move with everybody else can type so fast.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
I'll tell you what.
He tries to send out a tweet, and it's a
Let me
second
tell you
segment
what.
before he gets it out before the show.
I will say this. I get, the thing, the butt dial.
Yeah.
I get more butt dials from Nate
Nate?
Newton than anybody else in history.
You ever hear any interesting conversations?
I get
or do
hear
you
it.
just hang up?
I know when he calls, I'm like, Nate, and I don't hear anything, and I just immediately
hang
hang up. If he doesn't say anything in the first, but it's a funny.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
man.
Broaddus. He'll call me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like, don't worry about it, Nate.
Does he call you back when he realizes that he butt
He
dialed? You
has.
just
He
apologize?
has. Yeah, he has to
I
apologize.
say it like this here, man. You have a question for this young man.
I do. Why are you trying to do everybody's trying to take my Wednesday night gig away from me. First it's Rocket, now it's you.
If he hasn't answered one question under 30 seconds, so we ain't got much time.
Well,
left.
it's a race between him and I because we both.
We only got 8 minutes, Rocket, so make it quick. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
You were talking about Michael Irvin and the impact that he had on you as a teammate, right?
So, just to your point, Brian, when
Yeah.
you were looking at it and you were like, oh, man, he went down.
Yeah.
This is not good. When I got here, in the NFL, there are a lot of alpha males, and I mean, but a lot of them are what I would call immature alpha males who don't have the ability to understand how to apply the strength and the potency of their spirit in the right way on a team so that the team could reach their maximum potential. Man, Mike was masterful at that. I remember how when we were in Washington, and it was the first game of the season, and we're in the huddle, man, and we were down 21.
It was bad.
Was it like 21?
Yeah, it was bad.
Something
yeah.
crazy. 21
Yeah.
points going into the fourth quarter.
It was
I think.
bad.
And I just remember Mike just started with Troy. He just started taking over in a good way. And I remember we'd be in the huddle. He'd be like, here comes the play is coming in. So while Troy's listening to the play, before Troy told everybody to play, Mike would be like, Roy, look, I'm going to give him an instep. He's playing on my inside. I'm going to give him a little at the 7th step, and I'm going to come back on it with a skinny route post.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and literally Troy would be like, all right, Mike. And then, but then the play would work. He would throw it exactly like he said. Yeah. He would show love.
Oh, God.
He would,
Yeah.
and this is the thing. He knew how to reprimand some guys.
Right.
And then he knew some guys that they didn't need to be reprimanded. They needed mercy to be shown to them.
Right,
they needed love to be shown. And it was like, when I looked at it, I was like, Michael Irvin is the Dallas Cowboys. This is how they got to be where they, and all the other pieces, it was like he was the main cog. And so I agree with you. When he went down, man, that
we
was
were done.
it.
We were 3-0, and when he was laying on the field, we became an 8-8 team.
Man.
That was it.
Is that something Mike was born with, or did he practice it? Did he study on how to be a leader?
He was born with it, and he went to practicing. I'm serious. He was born with his dad's a preacher.
Yeah.
He was a Baptist
Ah.
preacher.
Yeah.
So he
didn't
had
know
the
that.
spirit.
I didn't know
he
that
had the
either.
spirit.
That's where that power came from.
Fire,
right?
yeah. That boy-
He saw his father.
Yeah.
He saw his father during the week work on roofs, tarring roofs and stuff. And then on Sunday mornings or Saturday, going into Sunday morning, he would get up and drive to Georgia and preach and come back down to Miami. So he was tough. Yeah, Mike Irvin. Yeah, so, he had it in him, man. His dad anointed him. My dad told me you were anointed to take care of your 85 brothers and sisters. So that's why he get that fear of being poor,
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
But, man, I used to try to tell people Troy was our man. He was our guy. He was our leader. But the heart of the Cowboys was Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are you? We got probably about 4 or 5 minutes here. Let's go around the table. we've seen we're 5-1. They are 5-1. I keep saying we. 5-1. Do we know what this team is and what are the expectations? Because this team's all in the recent history, they've struggled with a quote unquote identity, right? I feel like they have one now, or at least they're developing one. What are your, Rocket, let's start with you. What are your expectations for the rest of the season? And you know, what is this team?
All right, so my expectations are that every challenge, whether it's the other team or if there's a shoot yourself in the foot situation and you got to dig yourself out of the hole, my expectations are that every challenge, the Cowboys will meet more of the challenges than they won't. So that's my answer, and I'm keeping this succinct. Next.
Go ahead on, Brad.
Yeah, I tell you what, this team has proven that they have the personnel, they have the coaching staff. You know, when you start to talk, they went toe-to-toe with the defending Super Bowl champs. You're going to have to look at the Packers. You're going to have to look at the Buccaneers. You're going to probably have to look at the Cardinals. You're going to have to look at the Rams. I mean, you're going to have to beat probably two of those teams. This team is capable of doing that. I mean, they're going to get better, I think, defensively. They're going to get some players back. But scheme-wise, they're really, really good. They're sound on that. Offensively, they're hard to stop. And I think when you talk about a well-coached team with the right personnel, you know, the attitude around the team, I think, is really, really good. The players play hard for each other. And if you keep doing that, though, they'll keep finding ways to win games. And at the end of the year, you know, ultimately you can get to where you need to be. I mean, I was part of a Super Bowl winning team in Green Bay, and it just seemed like from the middle of the season on, we were not going to get beat. And this team has that kind of demeanor and that kind of attitude about them.
If our defense find out who they really are, I understand the turnovers. They're great. I wish they never stop. One day they may stop. If they find out who they are, and the middle of our defense can bond, if the middle of our defense ever bond, we will be unstoppable. I just believe that.
That's strong words from Nate Newton because you don't normally talk like that.
Yeah, if we can just bond, man, with defense.
They're very much like the team that when Green Bay played against the Cowboys in the early 90s, the Super Bowl teams, they would just physically, they would beat you up. They would get a lead and then they would run the ball, or they would, you know, you just couldn't stop everything they were doing.
Yeah.
We had great players in Green Bay, not as great players as there were in Dallas. And I think this team, Nate's right, defensively, they continue to grow, figure things out, get some guys back healthy. You know, they've got a great shot.
Last question before we get out of here. Start with you, Nate, on this one.
Right.
Who is your MVP of the Dallas Cowboys so far this season?
Will McClay. Will McClay, I like what he's done. I like what he's done with with going out getting free agents, and all of the guys that help draft these young guys. I really like that. I'm serious. Without that, along with Coach Quinn, they fit in there too.
That's I would real quick
Quinn,
for me.
it fits right in there.
Yeah, I'm going to do something different like Nate. Dan Quinn. Yeah, he's come in and put something together. I thought he was going to have to do it with smoke and mirrors, but man, they're playing well. They're giving up some plays, but overall making people turn over. You know, finding ways to get off the field. That's what you got to do.
I'm going to have to say the combination of Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott, that combination to me would be who I would vote for.
Why are y'all all looking at me? You want an answer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we know you want that little guy that's on that you don't have a series.
Stop.
Anyway.
Stop. You know what? I'm going to go with Dak Prescott because I think he's the one guy that, I mean, you can go a lot of different directions. He's the one guy.
But you went to alternate.
Joe Philbin deserves some credit too, the line
yes,
coach.
Sir.
I think Dak puts it all together, and I feel like you now. I feel like he can do anything now.
Man.
So, brought us Nate. Rocket Ismail was our special guest tonight. This was a fun show. Yeah. Rocket, you can come back anytime, and if I ever can't make it on Wednesday night, I'm calling you right out of the gate.
Now that he know where we at.
Yeah. Now you know. All right, thank you guys. This has been Cowboys Crosstalk on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!